Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press corps. This morning there was an incident at the Westgate Correctional Facility. An inmate attacked 3 officers. 1 officer received minor face injuries. They are now back. That officer is now back at work. 1 officer received an injury to their back. They have gone to the King Edward Memorial Hospital as a precautionary measure. Another officer had a back injury and they went to the KEMH as a precautionary matter. Another corrections officer had a knee injury. They have also gone to the King Edward Memorial Hospital as a precautionary measure. The inmates that involved in this incident have been put in segregation. The Bermuda Police Service will conduct an investigation, and if the evidence leads to that, it will go to the magistrate. The men will go to the magistrate's court to answer charges. At present, there is a lockdown at the Westgate Correctional Facility. This means that the inmates, all visits have been canceled and recreation has been canceled. The next step is the acting commissioner will meet with the management of the Prison Officers Association on Monday. There will be a meeting with all staff of the Department of Corrections next week Friday that was scheduled before this incident. I just want to highlight a key fact, that there are a number of elements to this that are still subject to the public service negotiation team. A number of things and concerns that have been raised are subject to the public service negotiation team. The Bermuda government, i.e. our ministry, take very seriously all the concerns of safety of the officers. We want to make sure that the officers involved in this are not only getting the support through treatment this afternoon, but making sure that they're getting the necessary help, psychological help that they need directly thereafter. Are there any questions?
Minister, this is a situation that the Prison Officers Association have been fearing for so long, that we have many violent inmates at the facility, and they seem to, their protection is being taken for granted. What's going to happen to protect these officers?
We believe that the protection of all of our officers in all of our facilities are paramount. It's the safety of our officers. Recently we have had an upgrade of the duress system. We've had a number of security upgrades to the CCTV. If there are any breakdowns in any of the security elements, we will look at it, and it will remain our priority to make sure that our officers are covered and that their safety is paramount. We do understand, as a matter of fact, as the minister, I have met with the Prison Officers Association on 6 occasions, and on each occasion they have shared with me some of their concerns. On every occasion we have documented their concerns and put together a plan. In the end of 2017, the acting commissioner put together a strategic plan for the Department of Corrections. This had specific elements as it dealt with the physical plant, security, and dealing with inmates with mental health challenges. Trevor, there are many inmates, there are inmates with mental health challenges. We are in talks with the department, the Ministry of Health, and the Bermuda Hospitals Board to talk about a mental health unit in Bermuda, a forensic mental health unit in Bermuda. That remains a work in progress, and it is now the priority for the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of National Security, and the Bermuda Hospitals Board to look at creating a forensic mental health unit in Bermuda.
We also understand, TNN also understands that the facility is under some stress. One inmate was spoiled with hot water, moving it from the stove to the area where they wash the dishes. The infrastructure of this facility, are we going to tackle the situations that's going on up there?
The facility was built in 1994. The Westgate Correctional Facility was built in 1994. It is an aging building. We have a plan that is in place to look at this and all of the facilities in the Department of Officers. We understand that they work generally in a stressful environment. We will do whatever is necessary to make sure that they are safe, and that indeed we make sure that the facility that they work in remains, that is put in its best state. That is going to be a work in progress, and it will not happen overnight. We've looked at the security system, we've looked at a number of things in the prison, and it remains a work in progress.
Are you able to say how many inmates were involved in this attack?
I am not able to give specifics at this time. I do know that the prison officers are actually meeting at this time. They have the prison officers they have they have made a decision to lock the inmates in the cells, and they're not carrying out their responsibilities as it stands. We're waiting to get an update as to what is going on. But I just want to make the general public aware, we have contingency plans. We do not believe that it will come to that. That the men and women of Bermuda Department of Corrections, they work hard. We want to share with our corrections officers that we value them. We have a plan in place, and we will do that which is necessary to ensure that they have the most safe and healthy working environment possible.
Can you clarify your statement just now? So you're saying that the officers have taken somewhat of action because of what happened this morning?
I believe the information that I have is that the officers, in solidarity with their co-workers that were injured, they have locked the inmates in their cell, and as a result of that, there will be no visits this afternoon, there will be no recreation this afternoon, and all the inmates at the Westgate Correctional Facilities are in their cells.
How long would this go on?
Again, this is something that is actually transpiring as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
I will get an update within the next 40 minutes from the acting Commissioner of Corrections.
In terms of the injuries received, are you able to say if a weapon was used or?
I am not able to say if a weapon was used. I can tell you that the officer who received injuries to her face and back, to her face, is now back at work. The officer with the back injury, that they went to the hospital as a precaution. The officer with a knee injury went to the hospital as a precaution. I will not make light of any of those injuries. I will not make light of any of those injuries, because any injury to any of our officers are of paramount concern to our ministry. We're just grateful that we were able to minimize any injuries and look for a plan to manage the situation going forward.
You just mentioned the female. Are you able to say the sex of the other two persons?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
One last question. Do you foresee our corrections facility moving forward as a transport violent offenders, handcuffed and protected, where the officers don't come into any risk of harm or danger? Do you foresee this change in up at the Westgate facility?
There are standard operating procedures with reference to transporting prisoners to and from the prison. I believe that those...
Even throughout the facility?
With reference to other facilities, it obviously will depend on the classification of that prisoner. What we have to do is, we've had an incident, we have to look and review all of the security procedures. I'm going to again highlight something to you, Trevor. There was an incident at the prison today. The first thing I would like to assure the public is that this matter is under control, that this weekend's activities will not be affected in any way. We have a contingency plan for if things escalate. We do not believe they will escalate. We do not wish for them to escalate. We remain ever willing to have negotiations with the Prison Officers Association. We've had very fruitful discussions with them in the past, and we believe that we can continue to having fruitful, meaningful discussions going forward. And this is not just about having discussions. There are things within the prison that have been suggested to us by the Prison Officers Association, and those things have been actioned on. Yes, this is not something where it's a talk festival. We believe that there are opportunities for us to look at some challenges, for us to look at some issues, and then to work through those issues. This has been a work in progress, and we will continue to work with the Prison Officers Association, with the leadership of the Department of Corrections, to make sure that we have a balanced prison service.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining.